Good afternoon, everybody. This recording is done for our annual customer and partner event for those of our people that cannot attend. I think this is a real example of how the world has changed digitally over the last year. I think the last year we've really seen the power of our ecosystem, which is the power of our partners and customer relationships. We value the relationship with each and every one of our partners and our customers. And I usually say when we engage firstly with a new partner or new customer, that we don't form just this value-added reseller or partner customer relationship. We form a relationship as friends, as colleagues, and working together to make projects successful. We are very fortunate not to have a lot of churn in either our partner or customer base, and we believe that is because of the ethos of our company, the culture that I definitely promote personally, that we will be a trustworthy company where our clients and customers will return to when they need us in assistance, either in projects or in support on a daily basis. Let's talk about the last year or 2 years. FlowCentric has seen tremendous growth all over the world in terms of our expansion of our client and partner base. A couple of years ago, we made a clear strategic decision to do a couple of new things in our organization. We certainly went the way of OEM our product or white labeling our product as an ISV to our partners. That has worked tremendously for FlowCentric, but so many of our other partners in the world has decided to ISV and white label our product, and that strategic decision has most certainly played off well for FlowCentric. The second big decision we made a couple of years ago is to start to verticalize our solutions to the market. One of our non-exec directors always say FlowCentric's Processware platform is a toolkit, and that's which you can build anything with. That is true. And a lot of our partners are very successful in building those verticals with our toolkit. But we, however, also decided to start to build vertical solutions and exploit those solutions. So, for instance, we've developed a supplier portal, which we take to market. That's for the management of your vendors. And the onboarding of vendors, as well as the management of procurement and payment to those vendors. We've seen a tremendous uptake both in Africa as well as in Australia on that product, and it is something that is available also for our partners. It's an online portal where we can manage our suppliers. And then secondly, we've verticalized a product we called Elder, which is our security solution, which is also white labeled. There's 3 solutions there. So those 3 products also verticalized, and we're taking that to market. We have quite a big drive. We have also created a product for the defense industry, where we are managing permits for the defense industry, and that is a product where we've done our first sale, which I can't elaborate who the client is, but it is something that we'll be taking to the market as well. So those 2 strategies has really worked for us. Continued on the other strategy of finding partners and finding clients, and one of the other verticals that we're starting to get traction on is grant management, is to manage the grants for big organizations that actually have NGOs that manages their grant funding, and we have very successfully implemented that solution. But we also got traction from other financial institutions currently as we speak. In terms of the growth, FlowCentric has really been blessed over the last period, especially the tough year we had, where digitisation is now on the order of the day. Everybody understands that we need control over our process. So over the last year, we've seen a huge uptake on FlowCentric Processware in the world. And specifically, we've seen a huge growth in our Australasian market. And I can just commend our team in Australia, who has grown significantly over the last 2 years and is growing on a daily basis. Our software are very well received in Australia. We have a big defense project going, and then the normal mining clients that we support there as well as obviously a normal commercial client. So Australia has been very good for us in the market, and the same with South Africa. We've landed some really great key accounts either through partners or ourselves as FlowCentric, and has really gotten the better of quite a bit of the blue chip clients. We're also very proud to announce that our partner in North America has started to sell FlowCentric Processware with the Pronto platform, and that is working tremendously for us, and we're really grateful. It was always a dream of us to enter the US market, which is really a big market, really 51 countries, if you think of that, with all their own federal legislature, and we have now managed to crack a bit of that in the USA. Although we've been successful in North America through MineRP in the Canadian market. My commitment to you guys is that we will continue to innovate our product. We will continue to make sure that you have the best of breed taken to your clients, and that you will be able to service your clients. And to our clients, I want to say we will always be there for you in terms of need and support. And I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting us through difficult times where the world we're going through difficult times economically as well as through COVID. I'm pretty sure none of us could have survived this economically, business-wise, if we didn't support each other as businesses all over the world. So I want to thank each and every one of you, and I want to say to you, God bless. I hope you have a great year, and thank you for being there with us and enjoying the journey.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you that may not have met me before, my name is Dennis Bench. I am the CIO at FlowCentric Technologies, and it's a pleasure for me to present this program for you guys this evening. Originally, we had, of course, planned to have a really nice evening at the Waterkloof Country Club, get together, meet old friends, have a chat about some of the industry trends that we had seen over the last couple of years. But once again, we were thwarted by COVID and its intervention in terms of that. So in place of being able to have an on-site event, we have decided to release all the material in an electronic format, and that you can then watch in the comfort of your own home, hopefully with a whiskey and your slippers, and be quite relaxed about it. So we haven't had one of these events for a while. The last one that we actually had was in 2019, so it's been overdue. And generally what this event is about is to bring our partners together with some of our selected customers, give people an opportunity to be able to interact with each other, but most importantly, gives us an opportunity to speak to our partners and our customers on a one-to-one basis, provide them some insights with specifically where we are going as a company, what we're doing with the roadmap, what we are planning for the product. These kinds of things are very important to us. Additionally, it's of course also the prize giving. So we have identified the partners that will actually be presented with prizes later this evening, and we will still be presenting those prizes to them. So I hope you have a great evening. Thank you very much. The first person that is up for chat is Franco McGannon from MineRP. And one of the reasons we put him first was because he will be speaking about digitisation and the adoption of it. I think we were all given a lesson in rapid technology adoption in the last year and a half. You know, in February last year, people were still eyeing about working from home and, you know, how does this happen? And suddenly I pressed there, by the 27th of March, everybody was working from home. Okay. You know, where the introduction of technology in companies would have taken years, if not forever, companies literally got their act together and allowed people to be able to work from home within a very, very short period of time. I have friends in the banking industry where their IT departments were doing nothing for weeks, but making sure that everybody had the ability to be able to dial into work so that they can continue working. I think this is a trend that we will see going forward. The long cycles of decision-making about the adoption of technology will start taking a back place to the reality of the technology is here, it's ready to go, and we should be actually using that to be able to getting an advantage. We've also seen an enormous increase in interest around business process automation in the world. Guys are having a look at this and saying, I need my employees to work equally as well from home as what they are actually working at the office and vice versa. And business process automation is definitely a building block for that. But let's give Frank a chance. Let him get stuck into what he wants to talk about. Thank you.
Good day, and I hope everybody is still safe and healthy in these very interesting times. My name is Frank McGannon, and I'm part of the business reconnaissance team at MineRP. We are a multinational technology solution provider for the mining industry, and we've spent the last 11 years developing an ERP platform for the mining value chain. I've been the product manager for Mineforms for the last 5 years, but I've been working with the product for the last 8 years. Mineforms is the white branded version of FlowCentric Processware, which we've incorporated into this MineRP platform. So today I'm going to talk about not cool technology, not about how we can change things with technology. I'm going to talk about the organizational change that is required for people to adopt technology. With the introduction of Industry 4.0, we are working with a variety of incredible solutions and applications that have become available in the industry. However, this technological shift in the way that we work has become a big drawback for us as well. The current rate of advancement is leaving many people concerned as they are struggling to adapt and embrace the change. It is a big change. We need to realize it, and we need to plan for it and prepare for it. It is the responsibility of solution providers not only to provide their clients with the best technology, but also to assist them in the journey of digitalization. Without the adoption of technology led by dedicated individuals, even the greatest technology has no chance of success. Digitalization is not just merely taking what we have and putting it in digital format. It is actively thinking about the way that we work. So organizational change is the action of business takes to change any of its underlying components, such as processes, culture, people, products, and infrastructure. And then lastly, technology. One of the most effective ways of thinking about organizational change is to view as a spectrum that measures the magnitude of change that a business is undertaking. Most of the changes are unlikely to fall into the transformational or adaptive buckets. The key value of thinking about organizational change as a spectrum is it allows us to think about everything that falls in between transformational and adaptive change. Adaptive is like tactical. It is small changes, incremental adjustments that organizations and managers make to adapt to a daily, weekly, and monthly business challenges. Whereas transformational is strategic, it is long-term. Transformational change refers to a dramatic evolution of some basic structure of the business itself, its strategy, its culture, organization, physical structure, supply chain, or processes. But people are the core component of organizational change. So introduction to change management. Change management refers to all the approaches to prepare, support, and help individuals, teams, and organizations when making organizational changes. There are various drivers of change. It is a requirement to adapt to technology. It is a requirement to adapt to your processes, your consumer habits, the acquisitions, mergers, and restructuring. There's a technical side and a people side. So we have the current, we have the transition, and we have the future. And we need to realize that with Industry 4.0, this transition is not what we are used to. It is a dramatic change in the way that we work. So on the technical side, we need to design, develop, and deliver. But then on the people side, we need to accept, utilize, and adopt this technology. Adoption is a state in which people have accepted the changes introduced into an environment and have altered their behavior to support effective utilization of tools provided. So we go back to the point where I said people need to have an understanding of why it's happening, and they need to be involved from the beginning. So adoption is driven by applying knowledge of what the plan is, knowledge of what the goal of the information is, the tools that we are going to be using, and the resources. Resources meaning anything that a company uses to make its people understand why we are making this change. Focusing on adoption increases the likelihood that change will be sustained by lasting behavioral changes. Many of us have been involved with projects where you go in and for 2, 3, 4 months we use the software, and the moment you leave the site, software is not being used anymore. It's because we didn't drive adoption. By making people understand from the beginning what is involved, that changes their behavior, and that solution then becomes part of their daily work method. So effective change management combined with a well-architected solution adds value to a client, will then lead to adoption. So within MineRP, We have a very well-developed adoption approach. We have multiple layers that we focus on and multiple role players. So we go from the discover to prepare, to configure, implement, and trench and handover, of which the two first ones are the most important for us. If we discover with the clients and we discover with our users, they feel that they are part of the solution from the beginning, we properly prepare not just the technology, but the people as well, that they need to see easy configuration, implementation, entrenchments and adoption and handover. We have four main role players in this. We have the engagement part, that is engagement from the users, from the role players and stakeholders, as well as from the implementation teams at MineRP. We have the communication part. We constantly communicate. Understanding what the solution is, why we're doing it from the beginning allows everybody to feel a lot more comfortable. We have the learning part, which is a part that we've all done very well. We understand user manuals, we understand how to train people, we can give them long lessons on how to use the application. Then the last part is the management. The management of what is the adoption rate, what is the new manner of working, and then measuring this over time gives us a clear metric of what the adoption is. So we also focus on a phased approach to training. So I've said now a few times that the Industry 4.0 is a big change of working and big way of understanding for us, but I think we need to have a real life solution or idea of what this change is. Most of us in this room or on this presentation will remember getting these to be back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And we had to go from a phase where we remembered that we had SABC 1, 2, and 3, and later on ETV and then E-News. But then we got these TV, and all of a sudden we had hundreds of channels. And I thought that first of all, we were all scared, and we were not scared, but we were all careful, and we had to look up in the book the whole time what the channel numbers were. But even now, if I tell you that on Saturday morning, Dad's going to go to channel 121, we know that that is the sports channel in the ETV. And that was an adoption we had to do. We had to change from this analog to this digital world, a lot more options. But I think that is a very good example of how quickly we adapted to this new technology. So with our phased approach to training, it becomes part of the prepare, the discover and the prepare. Don't jump into training immediately. Learning is something we've all done. What we need to do is we start with the introduction of what are we? Who are we? Why are we coming into operation? What is this change we're going to bring in? So we typically focus for 2 weeks. It's basic project introduction, making sure that all the role players and stakeholders understand why we are there. We're not a threat. We are a partner. We're an ecosystem of partners. We don't sell products. We sell solutions. We face challenges together and we overcome those challenges as a partner. After that, we start with the context training. So understand the change. Understand why your world will change every day. What is the difference? Will it make your life easier? Will it add to your workload? If it does add to your workload, what is the value of adding to your workload? So it's a process overview, solutions overview, what your new roles and responsibilities are. I think most people are scared during this technological change that we're living in, as they're scared because they're intimidated. They feel that the world is going to change around them. It feels like you have no more control about what you're doing. It feels that you might be replaced by a robot, but robots or computers will never replace people. People will just adapt to using these applications and they will make our lives easier. They wouldn't make our lives difficult. So we live in a world where we want to have virtualized contextual or facilitated training. In the last 8 months, we have seen, or last year and 2 months, we have seen with the lockdown how drastically quickly we can adopt to working from home and working out of the office and engaging in a virtual platform. After you've now given people the opportunity to get to understand why we're doing the project, what their roles and responsibilities were, then we go back into the traditional form of training people on the minutiae about how to use these applications, logging in, logging off, being able to save work, being able to engage with the software. That's the easy part. Training manuals, training videos, it's easy because we've not done the discovery and we've done the preparation. People are not uncertain about what they need to do. Then they will use the application. Then we start training these people, these role players inside of the context. How will we use this application every day? Because we understand why we're doing it, so they understand how they need to use it. And then lastly is the entrenchment training. And that is the hardest part for me of any solution, is understanding why people don't use applications anymore is because either the training was not explained to them well, or it wasn't explained to them why they need to use the software within the environment. So this must unlock benefits for the client. It must unlock value for the client. If there's no benefit or no value, people tend to not use these applications. So we come back to the role players and stakeholders. We have change practitioners that need to be able to work from the solution provider side to start preparing, equipping, and supporting people with the long-term strategy and plans of how we're going to use this. We need champions, we need sponsors and leadership from the clients that drives the solution, that drives the value. That's the person in the coffee room every morning talking about the solution. It's the person at night that sends a 10 o'clock WhatsApp that says, I'm excited to use this tomorrow. A people manager, somebody's going to do the hard work. Somebody's going to make sure that the right people are at the right place at the right time, and that they can actually advocate and coach, and they've got the abilities and resources to take part in this change management. Project manager, very similar to the people manager, but it's a bit more traditional role, so I'm not going to focus on that. Then a change agent. This is a person who contributes to successful change outcomes by representing the stakeholders, the role players, and creating the diverse perspective and changing, giving feedback to leadership. This is the person in the middle, it's the jam and the sandwich. It's the person that communicates from top down and from the down up. We need to understand that is very important. We can drive change in two manners, from having leadership tell people you need to do it. Then it becomes very difficult for people to engage, or people going to leadership and asking that we need this solution to be able to go forward. And the change agent is that crucial key in this one. And then, of course, the people the most responsible and important in any solution that you provide is the actual impacted employees. It's the people that use the processes. It's the people that understand why we're using this. We need to focus on them. And all the first 5 people support the last ones, the impacted employees. As I said a bit earlier, we have a few factors of how we drive change, and we say top down to and from down to the top. It is the pressure for change. It is a feeling that we need to actually use a new form of technology to be able to compete in the modern world. It is a strategy to accomplish an overall goal. It mustn't be a facetious or meaningless change. It needs to be something that is driven through the organization with an ever-changing environment that facilitates and necessitates this change. In order to survive, we need to adapt on external and internal pressures. A clear shared vision. Everybody, from the employees to leadership, from leadership to employees, must understand what the vision is, what the provision provides guidance to, and the organization needs to change. It serves to amplify success, it increases participation, and erode the divide between project leaders and team members. Again, everybody needs to be involved. Then there needs to be a capacity for change. You need to have effectively time, resources, financials, means, and the environment into change. If you don't have capacity, if I'm working 18 hours a day and I've got a project that takes up 2 of my hours of that day, there will not be any change. There's no time to adapt. There's no time to become familiar with the new solution. And then actionable first steps. How do you eat elephants? Bite by bite by bite over time. You need to have a clear plan of how we're going to do it, which steps to follow, and how to achieve those, measure them, and then give feedback, both to leadership and to employees. So we've all heard this. There's quite a few barriers to change. Capacity was my biggest one. If you don't have capacity, you don't have the time to change over. But the 4 ones are: you don't get me, I don't get it, I don't like it, or I don't like you. So you don't get me. Stakeholders typically feel that their job and function is not understood. It feels like leadership and management does not understand what I do every day, why I do what I do. There's personal and professional frustrations that is not being communicated with leadership and discussed. And they feel that they tend to stand a chance to lose something, their job, their responsibility, as a result of the new technology. I don't get it. Because we didn't do the discover and prepare properly, it could mean that they don't understand what the solution is, they don't understand the long-term strategy, they might disagree with the views and it's not been communicated, they don't have the capacity, they don't have the time or the information to understand the information, or they are confused of what the solution is. Then I don't like it. It's a psychological and emotional reaction to the change. It feels you jilted and fearful of change. Once again, you might lose responsibilities. It changes their routine, habit, or job roles. It feels like things are being done to them, not with them. And if you do your discover and prepare phases correctly, people feel that they're involved. So they're part of the process. They're not an impacted part of the process. And it feels like there's a change in somebody else's responsibility. It feels like somebody else might have to do less work now and you feel left out. So that psychological and emotional reaction to the change is incredibly important. And then I don't like you. The uncertainty that comes with change means that people become very defensive. People might fight back because they feel that somebody is attacking them, or they are uncertain due to a previous project where they were not included. So how you overcome this is by clearly articulating the strategy for your change. So the long-term vision needs to be understood. That comes in with the tactical part where we execute the day-to-day tasks of making this big change. Involve everyone in management in the change and ensure that they sponsor the change. It must feel like there is a leader leading for you, not managing you, and that they will take up any part with this big change that comes up. Address uncertainty related to change on an individual, team, and organizational level. It is critical to communicate throughout the entire process. Make communication priority during plan and implementation phases. People must know which day, what will start, how it will impact them, what their responsibilities are, because that removes uncertainty and allows people to change over time. Ensure that there's consistency between individual, team, and organizational expectations and actual outcomes. So talk about the person, the team, and the organization. We need to have a clear understanding that all three of these need to work together to successfully adopt any new solution. And then understand who all the stakeholders in the change process are and know their expectations. Roles and responsibilities removes uncertainty. So there are 4 key components that we need to focus on for successful change: is leadership and culture, engagement and communication, the learning journey, and change performance drivers. So ensure that leaders are aligned and support to set expectations, maintain team engagement, advocate, manage resistance, reinforce and support their teams through change, modeling new behaviors. They become the champions of these solutions. We need to be hybrid and we need to be agile. We need to be able to pivot as we need to go through the solution, to measure those metrics of the engagement, the adoption, and change as time comes over. It might mean that people are very quick to adopt at the beginning and then later on become uncertain. You need to change the methodology, or the other way around, where people are very excited, then hesitant, and then as they get to know the application through the training phase, they then adopt it. It needs to be simplified and personalized. It needs to be catered for every person involved in a project. They must understand their task, responsibilities, they must know who the leaders are, who the stakeholders are, and who will be impacted on this. And then the long-term purpose of engagement management and change management is the sustainability. We want to know that these applications will still be used, these solutions will still be used 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, because the value was there and people were involved from the beginning. So the biggest benefits of change and adoption is the individual supports a smooth transition from the old to new without losing productivity, no impact in their job, no threat to their roles and responsibility, and improves cooperation, collaboration, and communication, which is effectively the 3 main themes of Industry 4.0. As we can cooperate, we can collaborate, and we can communicate from machine to a person, person to a machine to a machine, person to person. It's a flow of information. That is what IP is at the end of the day. We must acknowledge our personal gains and losses. We must realize if we lose something, we gain something else. That adds value to the client and the user at the end of the day, then they will adopt the applications. There must be a positive feeling about the opportunities in the process. And then lastly, the traditional way, adoption of the tools implemented, using the solution, using the applications that we put out. So the team also needs to work together. It must be a shift to focus as a team to achieve shared goals and outcomes. That becomes a team that is more motivated and resilient, that increases communication amongst people, especially stakeholders, the change agent, the project manager, the people manager. They all become part of this solution. So team will have more empathy with each other. If somebody's struggling with a new solution, there might be somebody that can help them, or people understand what the impact is on other people. That creates a flexible and creative team. Then lastly, the organization. If we have the roles, players, and the stakeholders, the individual working as a team, that allows the organization to respond faster to the demands It can align its resources better to create these solutions. It allows organizations to view the impact of the change and measure it over time. And it allows for more effective and efficient adoption of the software or solution. That, on the end of the day, gives you a good return on the investment of this project you've gone into. So at the end of the day, what this means is we need to have the people's heads, their hands, and their hearts involved in any new solution. If we have their heads involved, it allows the people to understand, to cognize what is being given to them and understand the impact thereof. If you have the hands involved, because we have the heads, it means that people are actively using the tools, they're using the solution, they're using the application and the software, they're involved with the day-to-day operation of this. And that allows us to have the hearts. The biggest part of change management is having the hearts, because if you've got somebody's heart invested in a solution, they will drive that solution and they will make sure that it's a success. This effectively leads to a long-term journey. So change management and adoption means that we need to be aware of what's going on, what the solution is. We need to be able to relate to the value that this gives us. We need to agree that this is the best thing for the organization, the team, and the individual. Then we adapt the way of working to change this new platform. Then we adopt the platform. The moment we adopt it, that is the critical part where we need to ramp up. Then entrench it, take the time, take the effort, and work with people to ensure that this part of the way that the work life has changed becomes a permanent fixture in their life. Then lastly, maintain. Ensure that you give proper support from not just the solution provider, but also from a client side, from leadership, from the management, to support people, to make sure that they are happy with what's going on, and then we can sustain the solution. Thank you very much for the opportunity to discuss this with you today, and I look forward to engaging with everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Franco. That was really insightful. I think one of the really cool things about Franco's talk there was all the elements that one would have to have a look at and getting together in making sure that a solution is adopted throughout an organization. Once again, thank you. Right, moving along, a large part of this evening is obviously talking about the roadmap going forward. And I'd like to start the discussion with the roadmap going forward with a quote from my lead developer, John Miller. He always says the things that I build that people will only be using in 5 years. And he's really, really, very correct about that. I'd like to start by just talking about the life cycle of a Processware version. Those familiar with our stuff will know that we've got Processware 2013, 2016, 2019, etc., to identify the individual versions. From a product team perspective, we consider a version to be running for probably about 3 to 6 years. Because we support the current version on one back, and we generally try to bring out a new version in about a 2 to 3 year period. So this means that a version has got a lifetime of about 6 years, because after that people need to go to upgrades, they need to upgrade the infrastructure and whatever else to get to a new particular version. We as the product team have a look at it from a 5 year to 8 year future window. So that means that when we're busy having a process where we're looking at about 6 years into the past, and about 5 years into the future. So we've got about an 11-year view of the products all in all from that perspective. So what we need to do with that is we need to make sure that when we plan new versions, we need to provide the features that people can use at that particular point in time. And what we mean with that is that once the version is actually released, there's a little bit of a time for adoption. People will upgrade from one version to another. So the new features only really become available a couple of months to a couple of years after we release it. And we only really start seeing people start developing on these particular features thereafter. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Processware 2013 separated the navigator from the activity server for the first time and created a application programming interface for people to be able to use. That investment that we released in 2013, we're really starting to see people use it now. And where they are using this particular kind of extraction is in the development of mobile applications. And we've got a couple of videos, mostly from Australia, about mobile applications and the way that the Australian team has actually been able to leverage that API to be able to build mobile applications to enhance the solutions to their particular customers. I hope you enjoy these videos.
FlowCentric Technologies Asia Pacific is headquartered in Perth, Western Australia. This area of Australia presents many opportunities within the mining, construction, and logistics industries. Our customers often operate in rough remote areas with limited internet connectivity. Additionally, site supervisors, miners, and warehouse clerks tend to have limited technical skills as their jobs don't require them to remain in an office, behind a computer. Spotty internet connectivity, harsh environmental conditions, and the on-the-move nature of their users meant that FlowCentric Technologies had to provide these customers with an alternative interface to the standard desktop version used by office workers. Using FlowCentric Processware's fully exposed APIs, our team have developed custom tablet applications to address the above requirements and more. We have found a niche market for ourselves, leveraging standard FlowCentric Processware automated processes, integrated into ERPs and other back-end systems on the one side, and tablet applications using the full capabilities of the tablet's operating system for usability and functionality on the other side. As a case study, let me introduce you to the Pelagic Marine Services solution. Pelagic is the only operator to transport goods between Fremantle Harbour and Rottnest Island, which is a favourite tourist destination in Western Australia. All goods transported between the mainland and the island are done so by the Pelagic barge. In 2015, Pelagic signed with FlowCentric Technologies to help them manage and streamline their deliveries from suppliers, barge onloading and offloading, and vessel logs. The majority of this was achieved through standard FlowCentric Processware. The challenge was that the early morning deliveries to the harbour took too long to be processed by the Pelagic's receiving personnel. They had to receive deliveries using paper-based methods, then return to the desktop computer to capture it on the FlowCentric Processware system. This meant that there was no real-time data available and internet connectivity was limited at the harbour, which introduced further delays. We delivered an iOS-compatible application by leveraging the standard FlowCentric Processware functionality integrated into back-end systems on the one side, with the exposed APIs and iOS capabilities on the other side. The solution allows users to receive deliveries very quickly, and the touch-first nature of the application allows users to do so without typing any text. The solution provides offline capabilities, while leveraging standard iOS capabilities. This includes using all widgets and form controls offered by the Apple operating system, including date pickers. Single-touch form selection, negating any need for manual data entry. Selecting with a single touch from large datasets based on most recent tasks. The solution provided our customer with sufficient returns on their initial investment that they decided to expand the iOS solution to include the actual vessel. The vessel log is now captured via the FlowCentric Processware tablet application. This includes information such as wind direction, swell direction, and the number of passengers aboard. Additional functionality provided by the solution includes automatic notifications to customers when goods leave the mainland, barcode scanning when goods are unloaded on the island, automatic invoicing to either the shipper or the customer, based on business rules, integration into a payment gateway to allow for ad hoc credit card payments for small parcel shipments. Other tablet applications have brought us some wins. These include applications for mining, on Android, which allows supervisors to capture a record of the plant equipment and labor used during each mining shift. We have also integrated offline mobile functionality to schedule the services of a technician based on location, skills, history, and customer.
I hope you really enjoyed those videos. I think what the Australian team has been doing around these mobile applications is really amazing. And it gives you a really good idea of the flexibility that we have got in the Processware platform. I always say to people, we provide a really, really cool UI. It makes development quick. It's easy to be able to design and deploy. But if you don't like our user interface, you can build your own, and you still get the power of the engine with the user interface that you feel will be the best match for your particular customer. So I was talking a little bit about the roadmap and how the roadmap pulls together with the implementations with our partners and our customers. And I said that Processware 2013 provided us the foundation for this. In about 2014, we were sitting and we were discussing the future of Processware. And as I said, we were looking at an 8 to 10 year kind of window in terms of this. And we said, what do we actually want to do with this product and where must it go? And we identified 3 main characteristics going forward. The first one was to improve the developer capabilities of the platform. And what I mean with this is that we wanted to build and improve the tooling within the solution to make it a lot easier for developers to be able to build solutions that are increasingly complex, but do it in a shorter period of time and more reliably. So the first thing we wanted to do was improve the developer capabilities. The second and third objectives was then to start creating mobile applications in this particular space. It was a new area. We didn't have much experience in this particular case, but we felt we needed to start learning how to develop iOS and Android applications to work with Processware. And the third one, which was the long-term view, was around cloud. We knew we had to go towards the cloud, but when we looked at the priorities, we felt that the developer stuff and the mobile stuff would take first priority. We started building this into Processware 2016, and we started making the architectural changes within the engine to be able to run in a native cloud environment. We also, with Processware 2016, then built our first version of the Android and iOS applications, also leveraging our runtime API to be able to do that. This then gave us our first taste, as I said, of the challenges around building mobile applications and working with it. And one of the things that we identified there was, because we have a web-based application, webs don't work really well with offline. So we know that we have got to make our architectural changes within the particular platform to allow future versions of our mobile applications to have native offline capabilities and work with it from there. But that was as we started putting the roadmap together and started working with it into the future. Then with Processware 2019, I felt this was the first step that we really were able to deliver with some of the visions that we had in 2014. We were able to put the managed code engine into the solution, and this has incredibly increased the ability of developers to be able to develop applications. They have nicely enhanced debugging capabilities. They work in Visual Studio. So all the really cool stuff about the Microsoft Dev environment is at their fingertips, and they can actually start working with that directly in that particular space as well. We've also, into Processware 2019, added further cloud enhancements. We've made sure that all the settings are in the database. We've started changing a couple of things as to how the internals work of Processware, but the intention of that is, of course, to be able to get it into the cloud from that perspective. And I'll speak a little bit more about that roadmap a bit later. What I'd like to speak about now is about how ISVs are busy using the API and the other programming language and stuff to be able to enhance their applications as well. And one of them is a ISV in their own right in Australia called Maptech. And we've been working with Maptech over the last couple of months to have a look at how we can integrate Processware with their mining software as well. And in this particular case as well, very much using the application programming interface, but being able to leverage that with their own applications that are written in WPF, and being able to integrate those particular applications with our platform and provide the value of processes within the mining industry. Please enjoy this video. Thank you.
As miners move to automate processes and work more with machine learning and AI, the need for effective short-interval control is ever growing. In partnership with FlowCentric, Maptech has developed a business process enablement tool to give visibility across the mining value chain. Identify bottlenecks, boost communication and training, measure changes and see where steps can be automated and the mundane ones removed. Integrated with the Maptech workbench, easily visualise the full end-to-end process and each user involved in the chain.
Colour codes illustrate the status and stages, and you can send back questions or requests for more data. Non-workbench users, such as finance and maintenance departments, can use a web tool to capture and enter their information. Senior approval steps ensure data is correct and accurate, and once approved, data can't be altered. Full reports can be generated and an audit trail provided. Gain greater insight into the way your mine is run. Contact MapTech today to find out more.
Moving forward ahead about the actual roadmap itself and where we want to go with it. So as I said in the beginning, our idea was, cloud, developer, mobile, and taking it further there. But we've achieved a couple of those milestones. What we actually are doing now is having a look at how we're going to move this forward in the next couple of years. So when we start having a look at cloud, it's a very, very big subject. There's an enormous amount of stuff that is considered cloud, and the different vendors have got different capabilities and platforms, etc. Being a Microsoft shop, we decided that we will tackle the cloud on Azure first of all. So what we want to do there is make sure that we've got a solution that runs really well on Azure, and that a customer will be able to make a choice. Do I want it to run on premise, or do I want to have it in the cloud, or I want to run it on premise initially, and then at a later stage I want to migrate to the cloud without being an issue. And that's exactly the vision that we have, an implementation of the product that can run natively on premise or in the cloud. But what else do we actually want to do with this? Well, cloud is about connectivity. It's connectivity from your sites, your customers. It's always on, it's highly available, and all those nice things that cloud provides you. But it's also connectivity to all the other aspects of the platform out there, whether they be elements around IoT and making sure that IoT devices are set up there, whether you're using things like Microsoft's cognitive services and facial recognition, those kind of connected services you want to put in there, or whether you want to go off and you want to integrate with Power Apps and get people to do some of the stuff in the Power Apps, like in personal kind of workflows, and they then kick off system workflows, etc. Those are the kinds of things that we're having a look at there. And I think it's really, really exciting in the direction that we're going into there. Once again, like all things, we need to do some research and development and figure out, how does this work? It's not just a matter of saying, oh, we want to go in that direction. There's a lot of stuff to be done in that area. So we have actually, in the tech team, with our partners in Elder, we've been playing around with Azure and IoT and facial recognition, all of these technologies now for a couple of years. And the video that I'm going to show you now is from our partner Elder. And in this particular one, you will see him speaking about how we have managed to run Processware on Azure and then be able to leverage facial recognition technology as well. Hope you enjoy the video.
Elder develops software solutions on the FlowCentric Processware platform to simplify the management of contract security personnel. One such solution is Elder Overwatch. Overwatch is a complete technology solution designed to deliver real-time insights into the performance of contracted security personnel. Managing contracted security personnel is tricky when you, as the client, are solely reliant on your supplier to report on their own performance and SLA delivery. There are few ways to independently verify these reports, and without accurate statistics it becomes very difficult to negotiate bigger budgets for security services or to change providers. Elder Overwatch is a cloud-based solution designed to manage and monitor security personnel. The solution helps companies to identify, assess, and dispute irregularities, risks, and SLA breaches, providing companies with all the information that they need to manage and negotiate contract renewals. Overwatch will automatically alert the relevant personnel via email or SMS if any anomalies occur, or any of the SLA terms are breached, allowing them to take immediate corrective action. How does Elder Overwatch work? Step 1. The security officer is onboarded with photo and competencies on the website. Step 2. The service level agreement per post is uploaded onto the website. Step 3. When arriving or leaving from work, the Elder Overwatch mobile application is used to identify the security officer. The Overwatch mobile application by default has two modes available for assignment. Default user mode. This mode would typically be used by security personnel and non-managers. The way this mode works is when the security officer enters their employee ID and uses the application to take a selfie and then checks in or out of shift. The facial recognition system verifies the employee's photo and employee ID and returns a message indicating success or failure. This data is recorded in the cloud. The second mode is the manager mode. This mode is typically used by managers or a customer's supervisor. The manager or supervisor would take a photo of the security officer in front of them. The facial recognition system verifies the employee's photo and returns details of that security officer, such as their name, grade, certifications and competencies. Step 4. ELDA. Overwatch matches results with SLA and provides reports. The Overwatch solution delivers a comprehensive set of reports which provide real insights into the contractor's level of service delivery. The reports offer multi-site, multi-security company support, and because Overwatch is a cloud-based solution, the reports can be safely accessed from anywhere. In summary, ELDA Overwatch provides an independent security risk assessment, helps companies manage and enforce their SLAs, strengthens their position in contract negotiation, helps them manage the risk of protecting employees and guests on site. For more information, visit elda.net/elda-overwatch.
Job also mentioned about some of the vertical solutions that we've been building. And the idea with that is to capitalize on the platform that we are already providing to our partners and our customers and use that platform to develop other solutions as well, where we feel that we have got a measure of expertise. And one of the areas that was identified here was a supplier management portal. Our professional services team has been building these for specifically in the mining industry for a couple of years already. And we had a look at this and we felt that there was really a place in the market for this. What we've actually done with it is the way the architecture is put together is that we have a centralized supplier portal and we can have one or more processware instances, processware 29, etc., speaking to it. The way that we've actually architected it is that this supplier portal itself, this particular element, can be run either on-premise or in the cloud. These other processware instances can then be run either in the same country, in different countries. So we've factored in working in the same geographic locations, working from the cloud onto premise, vice versa, all of those different components we've had a look at. And with this, we've also taken the opportunity to test some of our future technologies in terms of this. For example, the supplier portal is being written with a technology called Blazor. And this is the same development technology that we are intending to write the next version of the Navigator with. So by doing this, we're busy learning the best practices and how to effectively build a website using this technology, and we can then plow that expertise back into the building of the next version of the Navigator. We also built a really super cool inter-site communication system to allow messages to be sent from the processware server over to the portal and back in a reliable manner. And this has allowed us to be able to also understand how we are going to be taking care of communication in the cloud as we go further forth from there. So before we move off the topic of the supply portal, I'd like to just highlight that any of the solutions that we as tech build as vertical solutions are, of course, available to be sold by anybody in the partner channel as well. The intellectual property remains ours. There's not a concern around that. We've built it and we've scoped it in that particular way, which means that if you've got customers that you think could use the supplier portal, please contact us and we can have a look at it as a opportunity going forward together. One of the other areas that we saw is becoming more and more prevalent in the cloud is how we would approach licensing. The traditional licensing models that we've got within Processware don't always work that well when we start having a look at cloud solutions. So what we've actually done there is we've done a lot of work around a transactional licensing model. So the idea would be that a site that is being identified for this particular opportunity will then have a piece of software uploaded onto it that we provide. The software runs on a regular interval, and basically what it does is it extracts the information about the activity of the processes on that particular site. We're welcome to share with you guys the kinds of information that we get from there. You can be sure that we're not taking anything confidential or anything that can be used at a later stage for anything other than counting the amount of work that was done on that particular site. You know, if you have a look at Azure and the other cloud providers, a lot of this stuff is around consumption. So we're doing exactly the same, where we are providing you with a billing model which can go to the customer and say, we will bill you for the number of processes that have been initiated on your box. We're not particularly interested in who the user was that actually did that. So moving forward in the next couple of months, we will be releasing this. We're busy doing some tests with 1 or 2 of our partners at the moment. And as soon as we are done with that, we will make it publicly available that if you have a customer that may be a target for a transactional licensing model instead of our traditional models, please feel free to contact us from there. And the last part that I'd like to chat about today is about a new business intelligence tool that we are integrating with Processware. So for many years, many of you would know that we were using ClickView as an OEM engine. We will continue to support that for existing customers going forward, but actually we've gone into strategic partnership with a company called Oculus, where they are also a South African-based software company, and we are integrating with them to provide a better, more easily integrated solution in terms of business intelligence. And from that perspective, I'm going to hand over to Sean Winterburn from Oculus to chat to you about their product offering. Thank you.
Hi, this is Sean here, CEO of Oculus.
Hi, this is Andrew Bosma, CTO and founder of Oculus.
Why is Oculus in existence? Is because we empower people to make impactful decisions that change their business on a daily basis.
So what is Oculus? So at its core, Oculus is designed to put the user first. We combine visual dashboards, automation, machine learning and AI to drive impactful decisions across the entire organization. We then couple that with automated triggers that allow you to integrate with external applications to bring your data to life.
Oculus is a partner of FlowCentric, and what we do for FlowCentric or Processware is we enhance the current experience that people have got with Processware. We bring an extra layer of value in terms of analytics and reporting, and we empower the partners and customers to be able to get more out of their Processware implementation. What is the problems that we're trying to solve? Firstly, you want to be able to see and visualize the entire process and how the existing process is working. Second, you want to find breaks and opportunities in your process for improvement and to find those bottlenecks in the process. Thirdly, you want to know how long the process should take and how long it takes under various circumstances. So Andrew, if you can tell us about Oculus and how it works and how we can solve these problems.
So the first step in improving any business is to start on a digital transformation journey. And what Processware allows a company to do is take the first steps in enabling that digital transformation process. By automating and capturing a process within inside a business, you can start to build data and benchmark that data and further improve, because now you've actually captured that information and you can actually measure it. So at Oculus, we take that raw data and we transform it into actionable insights, and we do that through a couple of ways. First of all, you want to build dashboards on top of that information that gives you a perspective of what's happening across your business and across your processes. And the next step, once the processes are running smooth, is that you can automate those actions, and through a combination of triggers and machine learning, you can further improve that process and help you automate repetitive actions that further enable you to enhance that particular process. Some of the key things you want to know when looking across all processes within a business is you want to identify which processes are taking too long and which processes involve too many people. And the only way you can find that out is by viewing an aggregate dashboard that highlights those exceptions and allows you to drill in deeper to find out where the core problems are. And then once you've isolated those core problems, expose the detail inside of that process to rework and re-understand where the bottlenecks are happening so that you might improve the process over the long run. And then typically what businesses want to do is that they actually want to report on the data that is captured inside of that process. So as something happens inside of a business, that's constantly generating data. And it's very difficult to get a summary view of all of that and understand, for instance, in a purchase requisition process, what potential suppliers are causing issues within that process and how to identify that. So Oculus allows you to go from the summary view with the processes across all your business into the detail that's actually captured inside the forms and bring that forward through dashboards inside of the application.
When you interact with Oculus, you'll be directed to the home page. The home page is valuable to users because it's a place where you'll get a high-level view of all your dashboards that are assigned to you with your respective user access levels. It's a great way to get an overview of different operational and strategic areas within your business. It's a great way to structure all your analytics in a logical and simple way for any employee, manager, and executive to view and understand what is most important to them. We'll now move into a specific dashboard that gives a high-level view of all processes within a company. The value of seeing all of these processes in one place is the following. It allows us to discover which processes are the most important to your business, which processes are the most labor-intensive, and which ones have the highest complexity. We'll also identify where to start in terms of optimizing inefficiencies and identify where we need to focus on to improve in the future. In the specific example, there are 53 processes currently mapped, of which 44 are currently active. They involve a total of 233 people and 323 unique steps. By viewing the summary, we can see that the purchase requisition process has occurred both the most times and has influenced the largest amount of people, which we'll dive into further detail. This is the detail of a requisition process that was started in late 2015. It was initiated by Abraham Lincoln and went through a total of 31 steps before being complete in late 2016 by William Shakespeare. As you can see on the dashboard, there are a total of 8 people that interact with this process, of which 6 unique steps occur. But a total of 31 steps have taken place in the back and forth of completing this specific requisition process. In the sand key below, we can see the timeline of events that have occurred and the different people that have interacted with this process. This is a great way to show the sequence of events as well as the responsibilities of each person along the way. This is important in order to identify areas to improve as well as benchmarking employee performance. We can use this information to take action and make sure the process runs as designed. We can use this information to further build machine learning models that model this process end to end to identify anomalies and deviations automatically and alert us to those specific instances.
If you want to get most out of your Processware implementation and you want to see the process end to end, find those problems and take immediate action, then Oculus is right for you. For more information, contact us. Oculus, decisions done right.
Thank you very much, Sean and Andrew. We are really excited about this new relationship with the Oculus guys. One of the things that we'd really like to see is that the business intelligence offering and the analysis of data and stuff becomes more tightly bound to the Processware engine as we actually go forward into the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're coming to the end of the event and everything that goes with that. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for going through, watching the videos, etc. I really hope that next year we will be able to see each other face to face and actually, have a chat over the drink, maybe at the Waterkloof Country Club or somewhere else. In closing, I'd like to just leave a thought with you. One of the reasons we keep doing these partner events like this and getting the partners to introduce themselves is we really feel very passionately about partners working with partners. If you've seen something from a partner here where you're looking at the solution they're building, you want to learn more about it, please contact us. We'll put you in touch with those guys. We've got several examples over the last couple of years of where partners have been working and supporting other partners, and it really helps to build a very, very thorough and solid ecosystem from that perspective. So if you have any queries in terms of that, please give myself or Astrid a shout. In closing, I'd like to thank all the people from FlowCentric that have also supported us on this particular event, specifically Heather and Astrid and all the work that they've actually put into this to make this event become a real event, even though we didn't actually see each other face to face. I don't believe you will be driving anywhere, so be safe and have a good evening. Thank you very much. Goodbye.